Hey everyone, we are back with another episode of our podcast. We're the Football Tailgaters, and we talk everything about the NFL, including your picks for bets and fantasy. I got here Yams, the Jets fan, Andy, the unbiased football fan, and myself, Aaron, the Cowboys fan, as usual. And we're going to go over some big topics this past Sunday. I know Yams didn't have a really good Sunday. On the complete opposite side, I did, but I'm not going to gloat about it. Because I'm actually rooting for the Jets here, and I was actually like pretty upset with what happened with them. We'll go ahead and talk about the situation with Zach Wilson after the game, what we saw in that press. I think a lot of people saw that, so we'll talk about the Jets. We'll go over the Cowboys' huge victory over the Vikings, the 8-1 Vikings, 40-3, and we're gonna go over them and consider them a team to beat in the NFC. And Andy will head on over and talk about his, I guess we'll call it headliners, his mini topics. We'll go over something else that's not Cowboys or Jets. So we'll mention the Eagles, the Giants, and the Bengals. And then, as always, the Week 12 game previews. So let's start with the Jets. I just kind of real quick want to get my thoughts with that. I think it was a very it's a clear picture for me to what the offense is for this team right now, and I don't know. I was kind of trying to figure out what the best situation would have been for them before the trade deadline, and how much confidence they had in Zach Wilson, because I never really figured out how confident they were in Zach Wilson, other than like he's the clear starter, right? So it was obvious enough for the Jets to be like, hey, he's the starter, right? But he's had issues where he's injured. We don't see enough games from him. We don't see a lot of consistency. So there's a lot of question marks surrounding him. And after the game ended and they did their press conference, he was asked somewhere along the lines about the offensive efficiency, that it was nowhere near productive. And he was asked if it's, if he takes some blame for it. And immediately he said no. And for me, I think just initial thoughts, I think Jets should be out on this guy immediately. Like a captain of your football team, who's usually the quarterback, not taking accountability for clearly what was the problem of that game, because it was a close game the whole time. It was a very boring 3-3. Well, it wasn't boring. The defense they were doing great on both sides, but just horrendous plays on the offense. Zach Wilson making just not. He's doesn't seem like the long-term future for me right now for the Jets, and I think they should be out on him. But we'll ask the question right now, and I'll pass it on to Yams to get her thoughts. Is it time for them to move on from Zach Wilson?
If you asked me this on yesterday, I would have said yes. But, okay, look. Wilson got eaten alive by the Patriots defense, which happens. I've been a Jet fan for about 10 plus years now, and I've seen Belichick defense just eat quarterbacks alive. And if you're an average quarterback, in this case, he seems to be a below average quarterback, or still stuck in his rookie mistakes. So the worst part about all this, he played like he was hot garbage on Sunday. He didn't play well. But we can't also ignore Mike LaFleur, who's the offensive coordinator. His play calling was also horrific and did not put the quarterback in the best position possible. Now, of course, Mike LaFleur himself is a first-time offensive coordinator as well. I mean, this is the second year. But you need someone who's a veteran in there. And they're all rookies. Well, second-year rookies now, right? But the worst part for me is, you mentioned, if you're in the press conference and they ask you, do you feel like you felt you'd let the defense know? And not just the way you say no, not like a soft no, like no, it's no. Like that, you sound like a spoiled brat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, completely. I agree with you, Yams. The New York Jets should just stay with Zach Wilson until the end of the year and then evaluate the situation. I would bench him if it happens again, the same situation that happened on Sunday. If he just isn't playing well, and by the third quarter, I'll bench him and just put either Mike White, and just so I can just send him a message saying like, hey, I mean, you're replaceable. We can move on quickly from you. And also the offensive coordinator, he just didn't put him in the great position to help him out, because he was struggling. Everybody saw that he was struggling, and you still made him like throw the ball like down the field, and him looking at it, instead of like doing some RPO passes, use his legs, quick passes to the side, little small screen passes, just so they can start moving the ball more. I know the running game wasn't working, but that's because you were doing the same type of plays, running to the left, running to the middle, running to the left. So it's like you got to be a little bit more creative. So of course I'm going to put a lot of the fault at Mike LaFleur. Even though this is second year as an offensive coordinator, you've been in the NFL for many years. As fans, if we can see that, then you should be able to do it like way better. This is your professional position. Make a better play call.
Make adjustments. And the Jets, the second half, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but they only did 2 yards. 2 yards in the second half.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane. They played like a mess in the first half. They came hot garbage the second half. And then the defense kept you in there. Like, Mac Jones didn't play particularly well too, right?
Right. Well, as we can see, the special teams is the one that won the game for them. It
Exactly.
wasn't Mac Jones.
And that makes me...
And we can say also that the Patriots missed 2 field goals.
So they actually, they played a little bit better because they were able to get at least in field goal range. Sorry?
And they were let off the hook for a little bit, the Jets. It could have been worse.
Were. Yeah, 2 missed field goals. And you have 26 seconds left on the clock. You kick the ball, you punt it, and Braden Mann decides, I don't know why they didn't just kick it out of bounds. But they decided just... let's see what happens. And, well, there you go.
I agree the play call was questionable. And I think the offensive coordinator should be up in the air right now. And I think that Zach Wilson needs to be humbled 1,000% because no quarterback that is actually capable of being a leader and seeing the problem as a whole. Maybe it was his emotions, right? But it gives you a hint to what he's probably like behind the scenes and how his attitude is. And it's up in the air right now, if I'm not mistaken. Robert Salah said that it's up in the air right now who's going to be the QB starter for the next game. That's not good. That you can tell that maybe there is something that he's also been doing, I don't know, off the field, or not off the field, but like in practice, somewhere behind the scenes.
Yeah, and it sends a message. It sends a message to him that
1,000%.
Yeah, like we're actually disappointed in you, and he gives me Manziel vibes. Yam said like he gave her Baker Mayfield vibes.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield 100%.
So when you have those types of attitudes as a quarterback, look how your career just goes down. You're not looked at as a good quarterback, and your career is kind of over in the NFL pretty quickly. So that's something that he needs to work on pretty quickly, or else just the Jets, they just have to be mature enough to say, well, you know what, we messed up in this first round pick, and we just have to move on, be mature.
Personally, I think so it was something I saw a stat on I think it was ESPN or something like that. I think someone tweeted actually, and they posted it, saying that the Jets averaged 2.77 inches per play in the second half.
Jeez.
And it goes to show, actually, this is a lot more frustrating than what I would like. I was so frustrated with their play calling, and just Zach Wilson looked so lost.
It was
so awful. Lost. And you can tell that Breece Hall makes an impact here also.
Oh, 100%.
Just another point.
Oh, yeah.
Another good point. So,
you know what? This is very bad. Sorry for interrupting. James Robinson, we traded for James Robinson, right? He was only in the field for 2-3 snaps? Yeah. What the hell's going on? They traded for this dude. What the hell's going on? That's the play call. It's Mike LaFleur. And look, I know, again, Patriots defense, it's Belichick. I know what he does to quarterbacks. I mean, Sam Darnold saw a ghost. And now Zach Wilson, once he threw that nearly almost intercepted.
It was twice.
Twice. But the first one, was it the first or the first one? The first one he threw, he just lost. I think it's mental now. It's mental now against this Belichick. He is traumatized from the last game. And I think he has a mental issue with not being able to play well. And I think that Robert Salah had kind of hinted that when he went down with a knee injury. And it could be that it's a mental thing that's not making him play well.
The Jets went from being second place to last in the division, with Miami being in first and Bills being in second, and then the Patriots taking over the third spot and Jets being last. This is not like, just because they lost, it doesn't mean like it's the end of the world or anything, but
right. It's a week by week.
It's a week by week, exactly. They're still in a good spot. They're not in 500, so it's not bad. But this game was, I think it was a wake-up call for them. as well to realize that, okay, Zach Wilson hasn't been performing well across many games throughout this season, the ones he's played. He's had very questionable stats. And when Breece Hall was healthy, he was pretty much carrying that team, the offensive side, sorry. So now that he's down, I guess maybe it was a blessing in disguise that what's up with Zach Wilson? What are you gonna do with him? All right, you gotta make a good decision here. You can't take the wrong step now that you're going in the right direction. So we'll see what goes on for them.
That's a really good positive note there. Just to, like you're saying, a blessing in disguise. I really like that because that gives you an opportunity to see what goes in the future, because you do have a team that's really close to getting ready to be like a contender because of all those pieces. You got a great defense, and that the quarterback is the most important position in your team. So that just gives you a great, I guess, to open your eyes and see what you're going to do for the future.
Yep. And who do they play next?
Chicago.
The Bears. So
we
don't know with Justin Fields.
And that upsets me too.
Yeah, we don't know with Justin Fields if he's going to play or not. He's day-to-day. Hopefully he does, and he does play 100% or at least 90%. So if the Bears do beat the Jets, they can actually see what's going on with the play call and Zach Wilson a little bit more. Right. Just a little, like, show the clarity there that, yes, the arrows are pointing more and more to Zach Wilson and the play call.
Before we move on, I got a quick question for you, Yams. Do you want the Jets to continue on to win, or what do you want to see from them in this like near future? Like, just to be realistic, because obviously Zach Wilson isn't the 100% franchise QB for this team as of now, right?
I want them to continue winning. Let's get wins. I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of this quarterback carousel. I hope Zach Wilson figures it out. I don't know. I just don't want to be back on that miserable train again.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, I think I like to see the positives from this team because they're still, they're only going up from here, as I hope. That defense is something special, and Quinnen Williams is so fun to see him play and completely destroy those offensive lines up in the trenches. It's just it's special, but clearly the offense needs work. So what about the Cowboys, who took complete domination of the team with the one loss, and they were up there in the NFC? The Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings, with Kirk Cousins not looking so much. He wasn't even in prime time, and he wasn't doing so hot. That offensive line was getting dismantled by the Cowboys. And you can clearly see as well that if they don't run the ball well, if they try to force more throws, they're gonna struggle. And that's what happened with the Vikings. The defense for the Cowboys was just all over the place. It was so fun to watch them. It was great. But, and like I mentioned before, Dak Prescott, whenever he plays in like a system way, whenever they run the ball well and they open up the lanes for him in the passing game, that's when he works the best. So as long as that's going on well, and Tony Pollard just continues to be sensational. And we're starting to see Zeke more of like a doing the dirty work type of thing, where he goes in and gets you that 1 yard goal line touchdown. He plows through the line and tries to get those really hard-earned yards. Right now, because he's battling through an injury, maybe this is like a good time for the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, to look at the situation and be like, man, maybe we should give Tony Pollard more touches and split the work, make it like a 60-40 in favor of Pollard, and have Zeke kind of do, like I said, the dirty work. Either way, let me just start with they won 40-3. It was just a complete dominance all over the board. Everyone looked really good, and this is a good send-off to Thanksgiving against the Giants, and this is a good note for OBJ. Hopefully they sign him. And Andy, you were mentioning to me that OBJ is more likely to sign between either the Giants or the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And right now, after what we saw from the Giants and Cowboys, the Giants struggled against one of the worst teams in the league, but a very high-powered offense, though. With the Detroit Lions, they took an L against the Lions, and the Cowboys just completely dominated. And he took to Twitter and was praising the Cowboys, not directly naming them, but it was kind of obvious, and it was all over the social media pages, and they were just, it was crazy. So I know he's gonna make a visit. I think it's after the Cowboys game. OBJ is
right,
and I think this is. I hope they're not just toying with us, because the money speaks as well. What are OBJ's intentions, right? Odell Beckham. Is he really caring that much more about winning, or does he also, the money is also very important, and what can the Cowboys offer? So, how about the Cowboys, right? I saw a lot of good things about them. What do you guys think?
The Cowboys walked into the Vikings and dropped the piano on them. I mean, they basically just handed them I think it was like their second worst loss in the team history or something like that. And I mean, that says a lot. And they're an 8-1 team. I guess it says a lot on the Vikings that maybe might be not so much contenders. But, the Cowboys, they were just sticking to the game plan. They finally got Pollard involved, which I think he's an explosive back. And maybe he did something that Zeke had that no longer has anymore. Just, beats through the line and just scores that touchdown. Catches. He's good on the run and pass. The only thing with the Cowboys is they can be the best team in the NFC if they don't get in their own way and self-destruct,
I agree.
So, kind of what we saw in Green Bay. They're the better team. They're the better team on paper. They have so many weapons.
And they got in their own way.
But, they just punch themselves in the face.
Not sticking to the game plan.
Mm-hmm. Not sticking to the game plan. But if they just stick to the game plan and use all their weapons, and honestly, I don't even think you need OBJ. It'll be a help for sure. But you have to run the damn ball.
No, for sure. I mean, the Cowboys, just everything went well for them offensively, defensively, and it was just one of those games that the Vikings just couldn't get anything going. And the defense for the Cowboys, they learned their lesson with the Packers. They stopped the run. Dalvin Cook couldn't do anything. Madison as well. And they were making Kirk Cousins throw, and he wasn't able to throw. So just everything went well for them. So I can't just say that, the Cowboys are going to be big-time contenders. Didn't you see how they beat the Vikings? This is just a game that just went all lopsided, and we just have to see if the Cowboys' game plan continues and they stay consistent with their game plan in the next games, especially in December.
Minnesota allowed 7 sacks that game. Dallas didn't allow any sacks. It was dominated on both the passing and rushing, and we get to see how if they play their cards right, if they stop the running game, the Cowboys defense, if they stop the running game, all goes well for them, because if you start forcing people to throw, these quarterbacks to throw, it's going to be a hard time for them, because that defensive line, when it does work well, rushing with Michael Parsons, as he should be, shouldn't be dropping back that much.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that anymore. I believe in Dan Quinn, that he learned his lesson.
He learned his lesson, yes, last week against the Packers. And this is a good sign that he's back rushing more, completely dominating. Forced the fumble, and he was just all over the place.
Should Micah Parsons play? He's a little banged up with his leg against the Giants.
With his knee.
Well, depending on what the situation is, yeah.
Let's just say that they say, the doctor say, he can play. Yeah, he's a little banged up in the knee.
No, I wouldn't play him. Is it an important game?
Well, it's against the Giants.
It's a divisional game.
That's right.
So for me, I would play him in the beginning, but then slowly take him out. And the reason is because if the game goes well and if the things are going well for the Cowboys and your other defensive players like DeMarcus Lawrence and Armstrong can hold the fort, then you can take him out, and then he'll have almost a week and a half of rest for his leg or his knee. So that would be my game plan, because he is 50 to 60% of that defense.
Now the Giants are 7-3, and I think their highlight right now is the running game, right? And their defense, their secondary isn't all bad. We saw Wan'Dale Robinson go down, right? And
ACL,
he might be
right?
done. Yeah, ACL. He's done for the rest of the season after he had a big game.
And after they traded Tony.
Tony. So we're going to see some struggles, and I think they're going to rely more on the running game, which I don't know if it's going to be all that good for the Cowboys. Because it is scary, because he did pretty good last time against the Cowboys.
Is he out, Saquon? Did he get injured?
No, I don't think so.
Was it Mixon that I'm thinking of?
Mixon.
Yeah, Mixon got out with a concussion. What?
No. Basically, it's because with the Giants and the running game, and the Cowboys shouldn't have any issues, honestly, because you're gonna, if they don't have wide receivers.
But you mentioned divisional games are always tough, right?
Right. Yeah, that's very true. And you know what's funny? In the last few years, I kind of feel like the schedule, whoever makes the schedules up for the Thanksgiving games, they've tried to put the Cowboys in a good position to win. I don't know, for ratings or whatever. But last year they played against the Raiders. They lost. I believe the prior years, it was against the Washington Commanders, and they lost that one. So here they put the Giants in there, and I don't know. You never know. This is the year of the underdogs.
They're going to be worse than they actually are right now. So
exactly.
But you were mentioning if they should limit Micah Parsons. I definitely think they should, and they should put him in critical plays only if he's that banged up, because it's a very short week. I'm very nervous about this game because it is a divisional game, and I don't think it's going to be all that easy just because we saw a 40-3. It was a very lopsided. The Vikings started off on the wrong foot, and it was all downhill from there. And it's a team that's kind of hard to pick up the pace after they struggled. So
I do like what Dak Prescott said after the game. He's like, hey, after this win, that doesn't mean that we should just be comfortable enough.
I agree, yeah.
So I do like that mentality, and I do see him as a leader. So as long as his voice is heard in the team, like, just continue that momentum. And that's what I really respect about the Patriots. Even though they destroy a team, like back when Brady was the quarterback, they go full on mode on the next team and the next team. And that's how they created success. That type of mentality should always stay in the football team.
I think Zach Wilson should take notes from that. Knowing how to talk to reporters,
Zach Wilson just needs to grow up.
Yeah, he needs to definitely grow up. So they're gonna be they're not gonna be. They are 7-3. And the Eagles are 9-1. Giants are 7-3. They're in third place, and the Commanders are 6-5. So
creeping up.
This is gonna be very interesting. So with that division getting really close, all I'm thinking about is that Eagles game against the Cowboys in December. That I feel like it's building up to be very, very, very important. And I hate it. And it's going to be...
Well, first of all, you need the Eagles to lose one of these games.
Oh, yeah. And I think after what we saw... So let's move on now let's go on to your headliners and talk about the Eagles.
Yeah. Are the Eagles...
Yeah.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Are the Eagles in trouble after that mess they pulled against Indianapolis of only winning by 1 point?
And you saw, what's his name? The head coach... seemingly just like he just beat the hardest team he's ever went against. So which he has a history with the Colts. I think he was a coach. I forgot where he was.
He was the offensive coordinator under Frank Wright.
Right. There you go.
Defense coordinator. I'm not too sure which one he is.
He was a coordinator with the Colts, and then he moved to the Eagles, and he's very outspoken. He wanted to play against Frank Wright, and he didn't want to say too much about Frank Wright's departure with the Colts. He really wanted to say it, in my opinion, but he just kept his mouth shut. And it looks like if Frank Wright was coaching, who knows how that game would go, because they did get Matt Ryan back as the starter, as a quarterback, even though Matt Ryan was struggling under Frank Wright. So Jeff Saturday, I don't know what he's doing, but it was a really close game.
So they're able to... Jonathan Taylor, it looks like he's coming back alive now under Jeff Saturday. And it looks like that's what gave, as we've discussed before, the Philadelphia Eagles have a problem against the run.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he is partly why the Colts are able to score. And not only that, their defense was kind of holding the Eagles. It wasn't until, I think a PI got them in the red zone, only for Hurts to run it in. So it was a close game to the end.
Yeah, the Commanders did a great blueprint on how to beat the Eagles, and it's just with the running game and trying to stop the Eagles' running game as well, and you'll be able to have an opportunity. Jeff Saturday, maybe as an offensive lineman, he was able to figure out how to give the opportunities to Taylor for him to be able to run the ball better. So that might have been a significant improvement there.
Yeah, they need to figure out how to get A.J. Brown going again. again. I think they still have, is Goddard injured? I think he's injured.
Yeah, I think he was put in IR actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt
at
the
least
Eagles.
4 games.
That's gonna hurt them. But you know what? They're still 9-1, and I mean it's been a long time since the Eagles have been 9-1. I think they were showing somewhere where the last 4 times they were 9-1, they've gone to the Super Bowl. Loss, win, whatever, but they've made an appearance.
That's interesting.
Well, like you said, Aaron, we'll see. They need to win, they need to lose at least a couple more games, so that game against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve
Might be an important one.
could be like the important game, or even if they lose one, basically. So if they lose against the Cowboys on Christmas Eve, that means that the Cowboys can take that division and maybe even that bye week.
Right.
All right.
I agree.
So the next just headline I wanted to get your thoughts on is the NFC East. Let's stick with the NFC East with the New York Giants. They actually lost against the Lions. Are they pretenders?
I don't think they were ever contenders. I think they were just more on the easy side of the schedule. And they have a lot of bright spots, but there's still a lot of issues that they kind of have to with.
That's a low blow for all the fans for the Giants. They were never contenders.
I mean, I still think they were kind of figuring out with Daniel Jones, right? And how he was running more.
Right.
But there's still, you have to work on that offensive line, right?
Well, I can definitely say that the coach Dable is doing an amazing job there. He can be a candidate for Coach of the Year because this team with, I don't know how many coaches they went through, like 3 of them before they got Dable. And look how they're playing. They're playing pretty well. And even though they lost against the Lions,
a lot better than what they thought.
A lot better than what they thought, exactly. But even though they lost against the Lions, even though the Lions have been losing every single game, but just like last year, they've just been really close and very explosive, like points, offensive points, high points. So I wouldn't say that it was just like, yeah, you lost to a loser team. It's just that you got beat by a team that just, it was their week this week. So, I do think that they are not fully contenders. I do feel like the 49ers can beat them. I do feel that I think the Seahawks already beat them. Right. I think the Cowboys can beat them again.
Yeah, the Seahawks beat them. Yeah.
The Cowboys can beat them again. And the Eagles as well. So they need to show a little bit more for them to be contenders.
Yeah, the Giants are basically, in the way I see them, is they're contenders in the making. I don't see them going too far this year, but they're working. They're working at it. It seems to see building something good. The Giants have been winning tightly contested games, right? They have been, it's not like they've been blowing them out, it's not like they've been winning close games. The Lions have been losing close games. So it's just fitting that the team that loses close games and the team that wins close games, so the Giants take this one. So I can see that the Giants lost to the Lions, and good for the Lions. I feel like their defense is finally getting a grip of what it should be.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, they barely crossed the finish line for the Giants. This is them. This is their team.
The Giants dominated in the air with 324 yards compared to Detroit's 165. And then for rushing yards, Detroit had 160 compared to Giants' 89. I'm not saying this is the thing where I didn't want to seem like it was a low blow. I don't think they were ever contenders, but also they weren't pretenders because everybody had low expectations. And I think even a lot of Giants fans were like, we're still building this team. We don't expect to go to the playoffs immediately. So being 7-3 is a really good position for them, and they have a really good future, but they have to do the right decisions here. Kind of like similar situation with the Jets, right? They're starting to build a good team, but they're drafting a bunch of wide receivers that are getting injured constantly. What's going on with that? So they got to figure out the wide receiver situation. They got to take advantage of Saquon's years before it gets too late, because running backs only last so long. So as long as they figure out these also I haven't really full on paid attention to what's his name, Kayvon Thibodeau. I haven't been fully paying attention. I know that
you will pay attention this Thursday though.
Oh yeah, 100%. But the Giants allowed 2 sacks. Detroit didn't allow any sacks. The Giants also lost a fumble and they threw 2 interceptions. So those were the key differences to what I think was a big blow to this game. I don't know if Daniel Jones is still the future for this team. I think it should definitely still be in question. But 7-3, maybe, I don't know. What are they going to do this draft? What's going on? We'll have to see and find out.
Right. Right. And for the final little mini headline, the Bengals struggled against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Does that say more about the Pittsburgh Steelers, how they're growing, or more about Cincinnati Bengals of them not playing as well?
Well, it is a division game. Now, those always get close, and Jamar Chase is not with the team. He's injured. So his number one target is gone. So I can see why they struggled. Plus, let's not forget TJ Watt is back on the defense side, who probably gave Burrow hell. So yeah, it's not a surprise to me that they struggled, but they ended up winning. Jamar Chase is a big part of that offense.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said in last week's episode, I think the momentum that the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they went through last week of how they're playing well and how they're playing better is just, they're just getting more of that chemistry. So I do believe that the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing better, and it was just a divisional game. So the Cincinnati Bengals have had their struggles in this year, and I do think that they're still going to be contenders, but they do need their offensive weapon back of Mixon, and even though Pirine did well, but Chase also, once Chase comes back, they'll be better.
They'll be fine.
Didn't Pirine get like 3 touchdowns though in the air?
Yeah, it was a big day for running backs, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pirine did a good job.
Pittsburgh had 102 rushing yards compared to Cincinnati's 62. But where Cincinnati really showed out was in the passing game with 346 compared to the 249. Although they, Burrow did throw 2 interceptions. I think I think it's more so of like Bengals aren't as intimidating anymore, but because of really unlucky situations, because of Jamar Chase and now Joe Mixon been dealing with some injuries. I think their cornerback situation is kind of not doing good at all. Because I do know Chidobe Awuzie is in there. I don't know if he's healthy. I think he is, but I think it's one of their best corners right now. But
Awuzie, wasn't he in the Cowboys?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I thought he was injured.
I think he was injured. That's kind of my point. I just heard that they're kind of struggling in the secondary. So it's kind of my point is that I don't think they're that Super Bowl threat that they were before. They are 6-4. They're not out of the picture at all, but struggling against a 3-7 Pittsburgh, who are showing glimpses of really good things from them, with finally getting Najee Harris back on track to what he should be showing in a great running game, and Kenny Pickett actually not being that bad of a quarterback. So he did. I think he did actually really good, and as well with Pickens. Pickens just awesome time. I feel like as a fantasy manager for next year, you should keep your eye on him. He was just outstanding, I think, and I think he might be, maybe, I don't know, depending on his development, he could be better. It could be number 1 over Deontay Johnson in those wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pickens?
But I think, Pickens. I think he's doing pretty good. So I don't know. I really like what I see from him. And there's a lot of hype building up in, I think it was the preseason. It was him, and then also Chris Olave from the Saints, and Drake London from the Falcons. Those rookie wide receivers were all getting hype, and also Chris Watson, but he's dealing with injuries. So
yeah, the rookies wide receivers they haven't been disappointing us. So yeah, I think sure. Pickens next year. I think my prediction is he's going to be a top pick in our fantasy draft for sure. He looks special, and just give Pickett a little bit more time to develop. And I think Pittsburgh will be a contender next year.
Just crazy because when's the last time they had a losing season?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No one really knows. It's been a while. So I think it's very impressive what they're doing here, being shown as like they're kind of rebuilding team, but this is their first time really not doing great at all. 3-7. This is the first time where even when they're rebuilding, they don't look that bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. They have a good future, it looks like. Even though a lot of people do criticize the head coach because he's been there so long.
Mike Tomlin,
and it's just a very sticky situation because I do feel for like the Steelers fans that just tired of it. They went to the Super Bowl, I believe it was in 2010 against the Packers and lost, and since then they haven't gone back, so it's been 12 years, but I mean there's been so many other teams that haven't even been to the Super Bowl. So, yeah. Anyways, just let's look at the game previews. I want your guys' opinions to see what the Week 12 game previews will be. How do they look? And let's start with the Thanksgiving ones. First game is the Bills against the Lions on Thanksgiving. Who do you guys got?
So the Bills are favorite -9. I probably take the Bills here.
Since the offensive coordinator left the Bills, I believe that you're the one that said it, Yams.
Thanks for giving me credit.
Of course. It was a really good point that since he left, it looks like Josh Allen has been struggling a bit. I know that he's injured, so we'll see. I do believe that the Buffalo Bills will win this one because they're just a top team.
Correct.
Well,
Brian Dable now Daniel Jones looks good, so.
Yeah. But we saw more with the Bills. I don't know if you guys, I just kind of saw a little bit from it, but it was more of the running game with the Bills now, showing that, man, we really can't fully depend on Josh Allen because it's going to be tough for him. So it showed that they went more towards the running game, and it went really well for them, and they showed out 31-23. I think that the Bills should have this one without a doubt against the Lions.
All right, next game. We'll go to the Dallas Cowboys against the Giants in a divisional game in Thanksgiving. Who do you guys got?
Go Cowboys. That's all I'm going to say.
So the Cowboys are favored by 9 points. Isn't that a lot? 9 points?
I believe.
No.
I believe it is. Yeah.
In a division?
Really?
I would give them at max 7 points. It's a divisional game. The Cowboys did look explosive, and I think what Vegas is trying to do there, maybe
trying to get some traps here. No.
Yeah. People would be betting for the Giants. I'm assuming get the spread for the Giants. Exactly.
So they're thinking that it's gonna be another blowout and -9 for the Cowboys. My pick is here is them boys.
Yeah, if the Cowboys just stick to their game plan and continue with the running game, don't get cute, like I always say, and make some trick plays, just keep that elite defense and go after the quarterback, and you'll be perfectly fine. The Dallas Cowboys for the win.
Yeah. I think every time the Giants have lost has been 7 points or more. Every time they lost, and that was against the Cowboys, Seattle, and Detroit this past game. So depending on what we see from the defense of the Cowboys, Micah Parsons isn't on the injury report. So if everything goes well for that defense of the Cowboys, it shouldn't be that close of a game, but it's always a divisional game, so it might be close. So maybe it'll change from the 9 points. Maybe it'll be less.
Right. Okay, now for the Thursday night Thanksgiving game, we have the Patriots against the Vikings. Who you guys got?
Look, we already know Kirk Cousins shrinks primetime, and against Belichick defense, we already see what he does to these to quarterbacks that are not good, that are average or below average, and that's Kirk Cousins. We'll see how many times he chucks it up there to Justin Jefferson, and we'll see how many times he gets intercepted.
This might be where Kirk Cousins breaks his primetime curse. I think that from this bad turnaround, this really, really bad game that they had against the Cowboys, they kind of were giving a reality check that they really need to step up their game plan here. They'll look more towards the running game here. And I don't know if Bill Belichick will stop that. I don't know. He's very capable of doing it. So I think that actually he won't be able to do it, and it'll be more of the running game for the Vikings that opens up the passing game, which gets Justin Jefferson maybe a field day, and they'll take a win here.
Oh, wow. That's bold. No, I predict a couple of pick six, actually.
Oh, wow. Man, no faith on Kirk Cousins.
No, it's not that I don't have faith. I just know the Belichick defense. He eliminates your first read.
Don't you need the Vikings to win, though, if you want the Jets to stay alive in the playoffs?
Okay, the want
is different.
Is different than what I think will happen.
Well, you got to stay positive. You got to manifest these things so you
I've
can
been
avoid
manifesting the Jets
Belichick.
to win the Super Bowl for many years.
Yeah, I would like the Vikings to win, but I'm going to go with the Patriots. The Patriots are going to they're going to see what the Cowboys did to the Vikings, and they're going to build off of that. They're going to make Kirk Cousins throw. They're going to stop the run, and it's going to be a pretty big game probably for the running game for the Patriots, actually, with Stevenson.
For sure.
So I'm going to take the Patriots. Bill Belichick knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
All right. Now let's move on to the Sunday games. And very first, I have the New York Jets against the Bears. Who do you guys got?
Jets.
I'm waiting for your pick, Andy.
No, for this one, I'm going to go with the Jets. The offensive coordinator is going to stick to the run and make it a little bit more creative for the running game, and have Robinson and Michael Carter just be more explosive for them, and also just and opening it up a little bit more for the lanes for Wilson, the wide receiver, to be able to catch those balls. And Zach Wilson is just going to be a little bit more careful, just like he did against the Buffalo Bills. He had a bad game and he bounced off of it, and that's what I'm expecting for the Jets to bounce back against the Bears.
I agree. It's the Jets. Mike LaFleur will make his adjustments, and you're gonna see the run more. You're gonna see Robinson on the field more. You're gonna see Michael Carter. They're both of them are gonna get their legs going, and I'm gonna predict Zach Wilson gets the start over Mike White, and yeah, he fixes what he couldn't do against the Patriots. But again, it's a different defense. He's gonna look different.
My gosh, I thought for a second I saw in the injury report that Michael Carter was on there, but it was actually the cornerback. The second.
Michael Carter second.
Yeah.
What's his status?
It says questionable.
Okay.
It says Corey Davis is out, and then Quincy Williams is questionable.
Hopefully they get Corey Davis back. Then he's a huge help.
What happened to what's his name? Elijah Moore. He's not playing at all, right? He's disgruntled. Completely.
No, he's playing. He caught two. Yeah? He caught 2 passes.
I don't remember seeing him. I don't know why.
Yeah, you'll see him running around.
They did running look at him very little, though. Very little. He got I don't know, three targets maybe.
I think that's his first catch
about him.
That's his first catch, from Zach Wilson is in the Patriots game. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Joe Flacco threw.
Is he playing a lot on the field though, or is he just
They changed his position.
He's a slot player.
He's a slot, which he should have been. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Well, they still need him there because Davis is out, so
man, that's all I forgot.
Yeah. All right, next game we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Cleveland Browns. Who you guys got?
Tampa Bay. I mean, it should be a game that Tampa Bay should have no problem with, but I don't know. So it'll be probably a close one. I think more than likely. I think it's a 50-50. I think the spread is only 3. With the Buccaneers being favorites to win. So it's I don't know. Vegas is saying it's going to be a close game.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and you said the Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb here, and I'm going to go with the Browns. The Browns are just going to be tormenting the Buccaneers defensively, and just I think Cooper is going to have a good game. I think the running game is going to have a good game. And just Brissett just needs to be very careful not to turn the ball, giving it to the Tampa Bay defense.
Needs to be very, very careful.
Exactly. So I'm going to go out on a limb and go with the Browns.
Amari Cooper just showing why he's worth more than the rounds that were traded for the Cowboys.
A little bitter still, right?
I agree. I think the Browns win because they have the run game with what's his name, Chubb.
Nick Chubb. Yeah.
Nick Chubb. So, but you know what? You know how I am. I don't like to bet against the Tom Brady because the time that I do, that's when he proves me wrong. But yeah, I'm not betting this game. So Browns.
Man, if the Buccaneers lose this, and if the Falcons win, I think it's the Commanders, which is totally possible. The Buccaneers are in trouble. That's all.
Exactly. Like just what you mentioned. Tom Brady knows what's on the line here, and he's going to do anything in his power to take this win. So that's where I'm kind of want to lean towards Buccaneers.
He needs more weapons, honestly. I mean, Julio Jones catches 1 or 2 and then leaves the field.
Yeah.
And then Miller tries to jump 10 feet, and then but he could have gotten a touchdown himself.
But they have that overcaught White, who seems to be
the new running back starter.
That seems to be the one that's a little bit more explosive than Fournette. And we'll see. We have Scotty Miller. Who else do we have there? Julio Jones.
Oh, they still have Evans. Come on, Evans.
Godwin.
And then Godwin.
But
Godwin is still kind of
wide
injured.
Receivers.
There's a ton of wide receivers. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, but they're not big time wide receivers except Evans, in my opinion. Julio Jones.
Do you think there's lingering injuries that they're good enough to play, but they're kind of limited and they're kind of scared to get something re-aggravated? I think who's the one with the hamstring issues? Is it Evans or Godwin?
No, Godwin had the ACL, and I always say it takes 2 years, and that's why he's not playing that great because of his ACL.
Right.
And then Julio Jones, he's the one with the hamstring.
Gage is out as well.
Gage is out, so you only have Miller, and then they're using what's his name, the tight end, Otto.
Oh,
Oten.
yeah.
Oten.
What about him? He's good.
He's good. So they're trying to put more new players in there to try to figure things out.
Yeah, because
offensively.
was injured, so they had to go with the rookie tight end.
Their winners 2 of the last 3, it's against Seattle and Rams. So.
Yeah, those teams. Well,
and they lost against Baltimore, a good team.
Yeah. I don't know about Baltimore being a good team.
All right, next game we have the Las Vegas Raiders against the Seattle Seahawks. Who you guys got?
Raider Nation.
Oh gosh.
No, come on. No, that's the Seahawks. Seahawks completely. The Seahawks are contenders and the Raiders are complete trash. They barely went against the Broncos, another trash team. They have their issues going on with Josh McDaniels. That's an embarrassing team. So they are lucky that they got this win, and they're going to be going back to just being miserable because the Seahawks are contenders.
Absolutely carried by Devontae Adams. Absolutely carried.
Raiders all the way. Denver has a good defense, and Seattle does not.
Well, they're 6-4.
They'll be able to score.
Seattle is 6-4 compared to Denver's what now? Like
3-6.
They're 3-6.
3-6.
They're on a bye week this week, so they're not gonna play. They're 3-7. So I'll take the 6-4 Seattle. Denver. I didn't see them.
I got confused there.
Denver's not playing. But anyways, 3-7 Raiders who are getting absolutely carried by Jacobs and Adams when the plays are right. And that defense, Max Crosby is doing great. Aside from that, it's all kind of just mid. And Seattle Seahawks, it's just, have you not seen the games that they've been pulling out? Like they're getting wins when they're not expected to get wins.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be in this place, but they are with Geno Smith. Nobody believed in Geno Smith.
I still don't.
And here they are. They're 6-4. I got Seattle against the Raiders. The Raiders are just winning against the Broncos is nothing great.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel that great.
I don't care how good the defense is.
Even though a win's a win. But anyways, next game up, we have the New Orleans Saints against the San Francisco 49ers. Who you guys got?
This is kind of easy for me.
Yeah, for sure. It should be easy for all of us.
49ers.
Yep.
I was going to do like a 1, 2, 3, 49ers. It's an easy one. I mean, the Saints, they have their struggles. They still have Andy Dalton. Even though I do feel bad for, what's his name? The backup that got injured. It's not Winslow.
Jameis Winston?
Winston, of course. He looks miserable right now because he knows that he lost his job due to injury and he's not going to go back. It's Andy Dalton's job.
He lost his job due to injury? No.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Oh,
that's
okay.
what he said,
okay.
and he said it shouldn't be like that.
Well, someone should tell him, hey, you know what? I'm afraid that we're all saying 49ers, and then TikTok's gonna come back on us on Sunday after the game ends and say
this didn't last well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel too weird that we're all overly confident on this one.
Well, we don't come out on like an NBC or anything like that where they all pick the same team and it goes the opposite way. So I'm okay picking the 49ers here. They have a really good explosive offense with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and the defense is a top 5 defense. So comfortably, I'm going to pick the 49ers. And yeah, I can be completely wrong. Year of the underdogs. Sunday night, the Packers against the Eagles. Who do you guys got?
Flex, hopefully, and
Are they going to do the Packers going to do the same thing that they did to the Cowboys here?
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with the run.
If they're going to do that, the Packers win this.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they shouldn't be flex. It's going to be a really good game. It's the Eagles that have a...
Oh, is it being considered?
No, that's just... Yeah,
it's just me wishing.
Just wishing. I don't know why. She probably wants the Jets to play on Sunday night. So no. So
aren't we tired of seeing the NFC East on TV all the time? Come on,
well, that's what brings ratings. What do you want to tell the country? Well, I mean, it's going to be an exciting game. It's Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones. They're going to be running the ball and trying to just give the Eagles another loss. And since the Eagles almost lost against Indianapolis Colts, it could be a good opportunity for them. And the Eagles, they just need to figure it out and be a little bit more creative because it looks like teams are figuring out their way to how to beat them. I'm picking the Packers, by the way.
Oh, they are underdogs here with a 7-point difference. 7 points favored to the Eagles as of right now. And yeah, I think that they see a similar situation here to what they saw with the Cowboys. And if the Packers are smart, they're going to do the same thing with the Eagles, and the Packers take this one. So do I trust the Packers, I think would be the question. And you know what? I think I do, and I think I will take the Packers here in an upset.
Yeah, I like this one for the upset. Packers for me too.
All right, last game, we have the Monday Night Football. Steelers against the Colts. Who you guys got?
Flex, please.
You can't flex Monday Night Football. I know it seems kind of boring with two teams that have a losing record, but I mean, the Colts almost beat the Eagles. the Steelers are getting better each week. It can be a good game. So I'm going to be picking the Indianapolis Colts, honestly. I think they are building off and from their almost win against the Eagles, which is a stellar team. And it's going to be a close one. But I think that they're going to figure it out and how to beat the Steelers for Monday Night Football.
Yep, they should look at what happened this past Sunday against the Eagles and look at that. Like, what they did was actually really good. A 9-1 team struggled against a 4-6-1 tie team.
Yep.
And I think Jeff Saturday figured out some kind of groove here with the running game, and the trust is back with the veteran Matt Ryan. I think they do have this one, as they should, but it might be a close one.
I mean, don't you guys think that Jeff Saturday has some consultants as a interim head coach?
Yeah,
don't you think
100%.
Peyton Manning is like helping him out too? And I think we're all in agreement that Peyton Manning is a hardcore brain for football. So I think that he does have a lot of people under his corner and helping him to figure things out and do a good game plan.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. He's getting some sort of consultants here. And obviously, I mean, not just because he's an offensive line doesn't mean he doesn't know much about football or anything apart from that. I think there's a lot maybe of what we're seeing from him. So but it's too early to tell. We'll have to see the rest of the season. And I think he just might be the head coach for next season if they like him.
I want to kind of go against you guys and choose the Steelers. I think the Steelers are gaining momentum, and I think TJ Watt will probably bring some hell against Matt Ryan. And though I do think it's going to be a close one, but I kind of feel like the Steelers take this one.
Well, the Steelers I think they should stop the run game before they even start getting to Matt Ryan, personally. Once they stop that running game, there's nothing to throw over there. I don't think their passing game is as good as their running game. So if the Colts get their running game going, I think the Steelers would be in a good spot. But I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why I'm going with the Colts.
I think the Steelers might be in a good position here because I think Najee Harris is kind of getting started, and they have Warren, who's right behind him, that they're also using. And you have Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Pickett. They're all kind of clicking now. So I still think the Colts are a mess. And if anything, if the Eagles almost lost to the Colts, it just shows the Eagles aren't as great or a stellar team as Andy just said earlier as they really are.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. So we're done with
all
our
right.
picks.
Yeah, that's it, right? That was Monday night?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I'm excited for Thursday. I hope the Cowboys win, and if they do, I think that's almost a guarantee for OBJ to be on the Cowboys, but nothing's 100%. Maybe he's just toying with the fans. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to do it for our episode of the Football Tailgaters, our podcast here. We appreciate anyone that's made it all the way through the end. And again, don't be afraid to interact with us in our social media with our YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. It's Football Tailgaters. Yeah, until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, have a happy Thanksgiving. Take care.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.